Welcome back guys to another video. In this video I'm going to discuss a potential top forming here on the stock market, which could impact Bitcoin tremendously, because as we can see here, the stock market and Bitcoin are showing similarities. They are not 100% correlated, but they do have a big correlation. So if the stock market were to pull back here, I do expect Bitcoin to follow as well. We're going to jump into the video. Today's video is going to be a bit longer. I want to dig deeper here into my Bitcoin macro analysis and the stock market. I know a lot of people are telling me the stock market and Bitcoin are not correlated, and that's not entirely true. We can see here in the past, the stock market and Bitcoin usually tops at the same time. They usually bottom at the same time. The bear markets are very good predicting the lows for the stock market. As you can see, also the highs, they almost had this bull market high, almost the same, just a few weeks apart. And we can see here the bottom of the stock market and the bottom of the bear market were almost at the same time, just as we can see here previously as well. So it is true the stock market and the Bitcoin are not 100% correlated, but if in fact the stock market would pull back here, I would expect a massive drop in Bitcoin as well, just looking at previous price data. So let's jump into the Bitcoin analysis. So here again is on my weekly chart. As I've been talking about, this has been my top prediction for Bitcoin, as I've discussed inside my Discord. So we can see here one of the first posts I made in the Discord. I've shown this before. I actually had this as my first bull market top. So I said this touch of the median line is going to be the top for Bitcoin before a major pullback correction, or at least it's going to be a pullback or a correction, and that's exactly what has happened here. And for many reasons, I have believed that we can have one more final push here to the upside on Bitcoin to reach this median line here at around 100K before then we enter a bear market on Bitcoin, and I have multiple reasons for that. One of the reasons is we can see in the past when the global liquidity has broken up to the upside, Bitcoin bull market usually starts. We can see here on the chart below, we can see the global liquidity right now has broken the highs here. It does look like the global liquidity is going to continue to the upside. And historically, we can see Bitcoin likes when the global liquidity breaks to the upside. Something else I'll be looking at is the halvings. So this bull market, we got an all-time high before the halving. So this made me also very bullish. That's why it's very difficult for me to call this the top, even though it has acted as resistance, this median line. So for me, it's hard to see a bear market starting here. But right now, the most important chart I want to show is the stock market. So this the stock market I've been looking at, that I also discussed in yesterday's video. So you have this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the idea is the algorithms buy at the 0.31 and they like to sell at the minus 0.236. However, the minus 0.236 is not a rock solid resistance. And I will show you some charts here why I do believe it's possible to get a correction here. So in the past, I was discussing about the weekly close. And the weekly close, we actually managed to close above this Fibonacci, which made me overall bullish on the stock market. But then when I was checking the monthly candle here, we can see we still have 5 days left until the monthly candle close. And if in fact we'll close here below, I do expect some kind of either pullback here or a big correction could start in the stock market. Since we can see here previously, we had this exact similar pattern play out. So we had this as a smaller time frame, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 happening here in the stock market. And we can use the exact Fibonacci here to pull it from the smaller time frame here. So basically what we pulled it from the second wave here all the way up to the third wave. We can see once again how the stock market bottomed at the 0.31 and the algorithms were selling at the minus 0.236. You can see to the tick, the price basically came up to the minus 0.236 before we had a massive correction in the stock market. We can see here. But of course, it's important to pay attention to that this crash was a C19 crash. So there were outside factors causing this giant dump. But nonetheless, I do believe that the algorithms had things to do with this massive pullback. This pattern you can see in all the markets playing out over and over again. But as I said, the most important is the 0.31. This is the one you want to trade. I wouldn't place trades based just off the minus 0.236. But as I said, we're seeing now the similar pattern play out here on the monthly chart. If you come back here on the bigger time frame, basically pulling here from the first wave all the way up to the third wave, we can see the confluence with the 0.31 acting as perfect support. And right now we just have to wait for the monthly close. So I'm going to look here to hedge myself. As I said, I still remain bullish on Bitcoin. We're going to cover Bitcoin in a second. But if in fact we get a monthly close here below, I would open a short here, something like that. Something I did previously on the weekly close as well, which I mentioned in my previous videos. So I did open a short here on the weekly and got stopped out. Something that I mentioned that I don't care if I get stopped out. I've been long this entire time, the stock market. As we've been discussing for a long time on this channel. I've been telling you guys the stock market will have one of the best years to date. And so far the stock market this year has rallied since the beginning of 2024. If we check here, since 1st of January, the stock market has rallied around 25%. So right now I wouldn't mind to have a short open here, just as a exposure to the downside, because if the stock market is going to pull back, this is going to affect Bitcoin massively. So as a Bitcoin investor, I don't see anything wrong with hedging yourself here, taking a short in the stock market if in fact we're going to get a monthly close below this Fibonacci. I'm very confident if we get a monthly close below, we're at least going to see some red candles. How big the crash is going to be, I'm not sure, since I do have a higher target as well in the stock market. You know, on this channel I like to be precise, guys, so I won't give you not 100 different targets. As I said, this is my first target for the top on the stock market. More, I do believe we're gonna break to the upside, but if we get a monthly close, the top might be in. The second chart I'm having on the stock market is this gigantic pitchfork that those who follow me, you're familiar with it. I have pulled it from the lows here back in 1974 up all the way up here to 2000. The big high we had here, I had this a massive fourth wave, and ever since 2009 the low we had here has been a massive fifth wave in the stock market. So for those who like Elliott waves, this is definitely something for you. You can come here on the monthly chart. I've had this Elliott wave pattern go all the way back to 1870, basically 1876. Since basically the inception of the stock market has been a 1-2 massive 3-4. So this whole corrective wave since 2000 to 2009 has been just a massive fourth wave. As I said, fourth waves like to go sideways. That's what we can see here. And since 2009 the stock market has been in a gigantic fifth wave, and this would fit this pitchfork perfectly. So as I said, unless the top is not in, as I just showed you on the Fibonacci, this is going to be my second target. So I'm kind of either the top is in now or we're going to go up here. And guys, as you know, on this channel I like to be precise. I don't like to give you 100 different targets. So these are the only two targets I'm looking at the stock market. Either the top is in now if we close the monthly below the current price, or if you close above, I'm going to be very bullish and still going to call for another massive rally, another around 20% rally in the stock market, maybe 25% to around 7,000 before we enter a gigantic correction. So either the top is in or we're gonna have one more rally here, which is gonna be extremely bullish for Bitcoin. This is what I'm leaning more towards, but as I said, we'll have to see. And that would also cause for some massive correction here, since if in fact we're gonna correct this massive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that goes all the way to 1871 basically since the inception, as I just said. So this is going to be a gigantic correction for the stock market, just looking at the technical patterns, guys. So let's jump back here to Bitcoin on the daily time frame. So this has been the pitchfork we've been aiming for, this median line here, shorter time frame. This is on the bull market top. We're aiming for this gigantic, if you go on the weekly time frame, or bull market top prediction is around 95, 100,000, depending when we're going to reach this median line. But if you come on the daily, we have pulled here from the bear market lows, this median line, we can see it's important you attach it correctly to the lows here. Then we have pulled it up to the third wave and down to the fourth wave. And remember, it's important you attach these corners correctly. That way you get the most precise price action. So as I have, those that follow me, you know that I have been calling for this move to the upside here on Bitcoin. I also believe that there's a lot of liquidity here above us. So we can check the highs here. All these highs here are having a lot of liquidity above them. So all the Bitcoin is just a small push here. And then I do believe we're going to enter some kind of domino effect. And Bitcoin is going to quickly go up here to this median line, which is sitting somewhere between 75 and let's say 79,000. I don't know when we're going to reach it, but I know once we reach it, it's going to be heavy resistance, and I will look to open a short there once again, just as we did previously on the modified shift here. So I told people here to open a short at this median line. Algorithms are selling. When we zoom in, we can see the preciseness of this bigger time frame pitchfork. And before that, I looked to short the shift one as well, which I shorted here back as well. So we have hit the shift one, we hit the modified shift. Right now we're aiming for the original. So what can we expect right now on Bitcoin? Well, right now we'll talk about, if we go back to our original pitchfork, back to our shift pitchfork here, which was previously resistance that we shorted. We finally broke through it and it has become support. So as I said, this median line is my invalidation area. So in the shorter time frame, I've been talking about that we have some kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As I said, guys, I'm no Elliott wave expert. I don't really particularly like Elliott wave, but it's a way for me to sort out the chaos of the price action, the chaos of the market basically. So far we had this dump here yesterday, but we can see price has beautifully held this median line. We can also see, we can zoom even closer here on the 4 hour, we can see on the 4 hour, it has very nice correlation with the 0.31. Once again, my favorite Fibonacci. If we pull from the first wave here up to the third wave, we can see here how we had found nice support here on the 0.31. So as I said, my invalidation area is to get a daily close below the 0.31 and this median line, which is currently sitting at 66,200. So that's my invalidation area for my bullish scenario on Bitcoin. But so far, I cannot invalidate it since Bitcoin has been going exactly according to the plan. Something I've been discussing multiple times. I said usually you see a 1, 2, 3, 4. Fourth waves like to go sideways before they break up to the upside. So I've been telling you guys, you have to watch out for these fourth waves. I'm not going to call for something like this since I do think we need some time here to correct before we enter to the upside. Something else we can see if we zoom even closer here on the 2 hour. So we can remove this for a second to make our chart more clear. We spoke about these two pitchforks here. So we spoke about the first wave here, you pull to the third wave and down to the fourth wave. So we can see here, it's just insane the accuracy of these median lines. If you start with the shift one here, we can see we called this live in the Discord for everybody to see. We had a nice pullback here from the first median line. Then you can switch to the modified shift here and we can see once again Bitcoin found resistance from the modified shift, and ever since then we have been dumping. So the pitchfork I showed yesterday before we ended the video was here on the 1 hour. So on the 1 hour I showed you guys, for those who are very bullish, I said look for this pitchfork here. So we can pull from the highs here to the low and to the recent highs. So I showed this shift pitchfork here. I said to you guys, I'll be interested to buy at this area if price comes down there, and that's exactly what happened. Price comes down there and I bought here, and a lot of people are like, oh Cobra, you're getting wrecked, price is going down. That's not how it works, guys. I told you this is a smaller time frame pitchfork. They are not as accurate as the big time frames. So I don't go all in when I trade these smaller time frames. I'm a big swing trader. I don't like going in with huge size on this smaller time frame, especially when they're news driven. What happens once we broke the shift one? You know, guys, the rules. We just switch to the original. We can see here the accuracy of the algorithms. I start adding here to my side, to my long here. I got in right at the lows here, and we can see that the 1 hour candle came once back up and closed above the shift pitchfork here. So we can see we got a close above this median. We just had this big wick to the downside. And I closed my longs here in profit since I didn't want to trade this this volatile price action. But so far I cannot invalidate my bullish count. We can see perfect close here from the original, looking like we have some massive fourth wave here. So I wouldn't be surprised if we break to the upside. But as I said, guys, right now, Cobra, I'm unsure what the market is going to do when I look at the stock market. So I'm not going to give you any specific price targets. I'm not going to say Bitcoin is going to do this or Bitcoin is going to do that. Right now, I'm just sitting tight. I'm still sitting in the long that I have here from 59,000, sorry. I'm still sitting in my long, but if we start getting a daily close below 65,000, something like that, 65,000, then most likely I'm going to look to close this long, because then I will call for more bearish targets. But as long as we are in this consolidation phase, I don't see any reason to take profits here in my long. I'll try to ride it to higher prices. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. Remember, I'll keep you updated. Still 5 more days until the monthly close. We can also see here if we pull from the lows to the highs. Currently, for those who like smaller time frame, we can see Bitcoin is bouncing from the 0.31. So far so good, but we need to keep pay attention to what the stock market is going to do, as I've been mentioning. So I thank so much, guys, for all the support. I'll keep you updated again tomorrow with another video. Remember, guys, we're all in this together. Try to be nice to each other. Try to help the people around you. Love each other, care about each other, be charitable, and I'll see you again, guys, tomorrow.